The elders of the Kreshtai had made their decision. Selly stood at the edge of the sacred pool, her small frame trembling as the water rippled with an ancient hunger below. She had always been the weakest, her scales too soft, her claws too dull, her body too frail to hunt with the others. In a tribe where strength determined worth, she had become a burden. "The great Mothor demands tribute," Elder Vexra announced, his voice echoing across the gathered crowd. "The weak must feed the strong. This is our way." Selly's eyes darted across the faces of her people, reptilian features cold and unmoved. No one would speak for her. No one ever had. Her own clutchmates looked away, ashamed of her existence. The pool below churned violently as Mothor, the massive crocodilian beast that had protected their tribe for generations, sensed the offering to come. But then, a voice cut through the ceremonial silence. "Stop." Every head turned. Standing at the edge of the gathering was something none of them had seen before a human. His name was Jaro, a traveler from a world the Kreshtai barely understood. He had arrived 3 solar cycles ago, studying their culture, learning their language, asking questions that made the elders uncomfortable. "This is not your concern, soft skin," Vexra hissed. "You do not understand our traditions." Jaro stepped forward, his worn boots crunching on the ceremonial stones. He was smaller than most Kreshtai warriors, lacking their natural armor and weapons. His skin was pale and vulnerable, his teeth flat and useless for combat. By their standards, he should have been helpless. "I understand perfectly," Jaro said, his voice steady. "You're about to murder a child because she doesn't fit your definition of strong." Vexra's crest flared with indignation. "She is a drain on resources. The Mothor's blessing sustains us. Without sacrifice, we perish. This has been our way for 1,000 generations. Then your way is broken." The words landed like a physical blow. Warriors stepped forward, hands on their weapons. But Jaro didn't flinch. He walked past the elders, directly toward Selly. The girl's eyes widened. No one had ever approached her with anything but contempt. "You don't have to do this," Jaro said softly to her. Before Selly could respond, Elder Vexra shrieked a command. 2 warriors grabbed Selly and hurled her into the pool. She hit the water with a splash, her weak limbs flailing uselessly. The surface exploded as Mothor rose 15 feet of scaled fury, jaws lined with teeth like daggers. What happened next would be spoken of for generations. Jaro ran, not away toward. He sprinted to the pool's edge and dove, his body arcing through the air. He landed on Mothor's broad back, just as the beast's jaws snapped shut inches from Selly's head. The impact drove the creature sideways, buying precious seconds. The Kreshtai gasped collectively. No one touched the Mothor. It was death. It was sacrilege. Jaro's hands found purchase on the rough scales. Mothor thrashed, spinning in the water with the fury of a god challenged. But Jaro held on, muscles burning, and then he did something that defied all Kreshtai understanding of combat. He struck first. His fist came down on the beast's eye socket, not with claws, not with enhanced strength, but with the focused desperation of a species that had clawed its way to the top of its food chain through sheer audacity. Once. Twice. 3 times. Each blow. Precise. Targeted. Relentless. Mothor roared, a sound that shook the stone amphitheater. It rolled, trying to dislodge this impossible creature on its back. Jaro went under, still holding on. When he surfaced, gasping, he locked his arm around the beast's throat, a move that should have been futile against such a monster. But humans had something the Kreshtai had never evolved: endurance. Jaro didn't have the strength to kill Mothor quickly, but he had the stubbornness to refuse to let go. His grip tightened, cutting off the creature's air supply incrementally, second by agonizing second. The beast thrashed with decreasing violence. Its movements grew sluggish. With his free hand, Jaro grabbed Selly by her arm and pulled her toward the pool's edge. "Climb," he shouted. She did, scrambling out with the last of her strength. Mothor gave one final roll, slamming Jarro against the pool's stone wall. Pain exploded through his ribs, but he didn't release his grip. He couldn't. If he did, the beast would recover, and Selly's sacrifice would have been for nothing. Your god, Jarro gasped between breaths, doesn't get to have her. Something in Mothor's ancient brain recognized a predator when it felt one. With a final, almost respectful shudder, the great beast went limp. Jarro released it, letting it sink into the depths. He didn't know if he'd killed it or merely subdued it. And he didn't care. He dragged himself out of the pool, collapsing beside Selly on the stone. His body was a map of bruises and cuts. Blood mixed with water dripped from a gash on his forehead. The Kreshtai stood in stunned silence. Elder Vexra found his voice first. You have killed the Mothor. You have doomed us all. Jarro pushed himself to his feet, swaying slightly. No. I've shown you that your traditions are built on fear, not strength. Real strength, he gestured to Selly, isn't about who can kill the fastest. It's about who refuses to give up, who protects the vulnerable, who questions the cruelty you call culture. He looked at Selly, who stared at him with something like wonder in her eyes. On my world, we were once like you. We sacrificed the weak, worshipped the strong, let tradition justify murder. But we learned. We changed. We became better, not despite our compassion, but because of it. Vexra's crest lowered slowly. Around him, warriors looked uncertain. The Mothor had been defeated by a creature with no claws, no scales, no natural weapons, only determination and an insane refusal to accept what was deemed inevitable. Jarro extended his hand to Selly. Come on. Let's get you somewhere safe. As the human and the weakest girl walked past the gathered tribe, not a single warrior moved to stop them. They had witnessed something that shattered their understanding of strength. And in the sacred pool, Mothor stirred in the depths, alive but humbled, learning the same lesson its worshippers had just learned. Never underestimate a human who decides someone else's life is worth fighting for.